My name is Beth Hunsaker, and my personal finance journey started up at Utah State University. And to make ends meet, I was a waitress at Angie's, if you've ever been up there. And then I started working at a payday lender. And I remember in the training, they said, don't say that our interest rate is 547%. Say 547, don't say 100. And I'll be honest, I was 18. I was very judgmental of the people who came in. Because I was like, why would you do this? This is so stupid. You're wasting so much money. And I remember one Saturday when it was just so slow and I'm just sitting there and I added up somebody's interest over the 2 years they'd come in, because people get caught in those traps, and they'd borrow and then they would extend it, and it was thousands of dollars, and they'd borrow just a few $1,000s over the 2 years and paid about the same amount in interest. And anyway, I was very judgmental. And then I was trying to finish up school, and I'd gone in to see my financial aid counselor at Utah State. And she was amazing, and she helped me find this scholarship for a couple $1,000s to help me to do a summer semester and get finished up. And I was so grateful. She was so amazing. And then one day she came in and got a payday loan. And everything changed in my mind. And I just thought, this amazing, smart, kind, wonderful person taking out these loans. And it just flipped how I saw it. And that just started this love for personal finance and the education side. Because when people make mistakes with personal finance, it's not because they're dumb. It's because they don't have other options. It's because they don't understand. And that's what really ignited my love for teaching personal finance. And then also at that same time, I discovered Roth IRAs. And I was just like, these are so cool. How do we not know about these? And I remember, I love telling my students, like, when I opened my Roth, I had to send in a canceled check to start my automatic investments. And they were like, what's a canceled check? How does that work? And that's my history. Like, between those two things, it just ignited this love, because I realized if people can understand the power that they have with their own personal finances, they can really make a difference. So that's what's kind of led me to the work that I've done. And so with this presentation today, I typically don't like to have like such a negative title. I don't like to start that, but what I wanted to get was we have these amazing, smart college students coming to University of Utah specifically, but they don't have all the pieces of their puzzles together, and they're not always prepared. And I love that presentation. I love that was right before what we're talking about today, because when they don't always have those pieces, there can be some pretty big problems that come from it. So I just kind of wanted to give you some of the things that I've been seeing at University of Utah. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I think you're all doing amazing, but just give you a little insight into what I'm seeing. Maybe you can give me some insight, some things that you've noticed, and just kind of build and connect some of our knowledge, because I feel like you're sending them my way. I don't know. So I thought we could talk about that. So, why me? Why do I have this perspective? So I have a really, I think, unique look at the typical college student and young adults. So I have two roles at University of Utah. I have been an instructor since 2005. And I'm getting to where I have students who are almost born the year I started teaching. I'm watching that. I'm ready. I'm getting ready for that. And when I was doing the math, I teach in the Family Consumer Studies department. I teach every semester, so all 3 semesters. And when I'm looking at my typical enrollments, I think I've had about 4,000 students come through my classes over the 19 years that I've been there. So that's my rough estimate. As my life has changed, there's some semesters that I've done more classes, but now that I have a full-time role at the University of Utah, I've had to cut down to only 3 a year, but it keeps me pretty busy. And then I usually have about 100 students in the class. I have switched to fully online for now. I miss in person desperately, but with life You just got to do what you got to do. And then my full-time role, my 9 to 5, is with the Financial Wellness Center. Financial Wellness Center, we are in student affairs, and I'll talk a little bit more about that work, but we do one-on-one financial counseling with students. With our team, we see one-on-one just under 900, about 875 students. We do other programming, and I'll talk about that. And then I just do a lot of work, a lot of research in financial literacy. I am on the Jumpstart board, and I've been involved with the Jumpstart Coalition for a few years now. And then I'm also part of the Higher Education Financial Wellness Alliance. It's called HEFWA. There are about 500 universities across the United States that have financial counseling centers at their universities. So that's just our professional organization. And then under here is my AFCPE. So I am an accredited financial counselor as well. And then I just got my little Barbie presentation. I got to be Finance Barbie this last spring. It was really, really fun. It was a series that we did at University of Utah. I was one of the Barbies. So looking at what I've been teaching in family consumer studies, I've done a lot of their personal finance classes. It's like the intro into their CFP, Certified Financial Planning classes. Is there any way we can make the video like a little smaller? Or maybe it just keeps running into some of my content?
Not on this one. Well, wait a minute.
Okay, if not, it's okay. But okay, so family consumer studies, that's where the personal finance classes are housed at University of Utah. I think that's pretty similar to a lot of our universities. So family and consumer studies, you know that they have like the child development family side, and then we've just got a little sprinkling of the consumer side. I have taught some of their consumer policy classes as well. They're not quite as popular as they used to be, so we've really just switched to the finance classes. The one that I love and the one that I teach, I had to drop down and I had to pick. It was really hard. But the one that I love and I teach is Family Economic Issues, 3450. It is taking micro and macroeconomic issues and applying them on the household level. I love to call it the most practical course in college. You know how it goes with these personal finance topics. It's things that people will actually use. And so I take those economic concepts and what do they mean on the household level. So some of those include like doing a cost-benefit analysis. So we do a cost-benefit analysis of college. So we talk about why doesn't everybody just go out and get every advanced degree possible? So we do the costs, looking at the tuition costs, the opportunity cost of the years that you would put into it, plus the potential increase in your salary. We do TANSTAFL, which we're going to do in just a second. And then we break it down. We look at financial capital, investing in the stock market, and retirement. So I do get to plug those Roth IRAs, which is my dream come true. Physical capital, so we really focus on home ownership. And then we go into human capital, where we spend some time investing in education, and then also looking at marriage, divorce, and children, and investing in your children's education. I need one more week in this course because I have not been able to fit in student loan repayment. Because this class is a QI, I have to hit certain math concepts for them to get the math requirement. And we actually bring in a lot of non-majors. This is a real moneymaker for our department. And so every time when this class is up for recertification and I'm like trying to push student loan repayments, they're like, doesn't fit, it's not math. It's not math enough. I don't know. So I have an optional unit because that's something I think is so important. So one day I'm just going to keep trying to sneak it in there. So we do really practical assignments where they have to calculate their own retirement. Sometimes they'll do it for their parents, which I love because it's involving their family and they can kind of see what their parents have done. I love anytime we connect it back to the family. They do a debt repayment plan. We just use USU Extension's PowerPay. They can plug it in that way. And then we end with a spending plan where they track their spending for 2 months and then project for a year. So I really try to have those practical assignments. The class gets great reviews, and I can't take credit. I didn't create this class. I've just been the one doing it for so long. But these assignments, it's things that they actually improve their life. I just had a student email me last week. It was like, I did the cost benefit of home ownership and we just closed on our new house. And it made my day. It was like such a great day of like something that they actually used. So one example of that economic concept is understanding that there's a price associated with everything. So we do TANSTAFL. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. So we spend some time talking about the imputed costs and making sure we understand where the cost is. So this is we do it in a discussion board because it's online now, but they try and prove me wrong. And I'm like, okay, if you can prove me wrong, something that is truly free, I'll give you a bonus point. And it's such a fun discussion because it starts out with the students coming at me and they're like, well, I went picking wild berries and that's truly free. And I was like, but did you spend your time picking the wild berries? That's the cost. You had to spend time and you got scratches all up your arms. And like, was it worth it? Yes, it was delicious. So it starts out with them coming at me and then it's them coming at each other, recognizing that there really is a cost associated with it. So that's just one way that we try and bring that bigger economic issue to the household level. So I'm gonna give you a chance. You can prove me wrong. I'll give you a bonus point. It's a fun concept. I love reading the papers on this. Economists love arguing this point back and forth. I think the closest one was like breastfeeding, but they're like, nope, the mom spends calories to feed the baby. So it's like, nope. So, okay. And then it's really fun to just keep digging and keep pushing that. And this comes across a little cynical, but you've always got to ask, where's the cost? So what you always have to ask, what's in it for them? So my favorite example, I use my mom way too much in my classes, but she just provides the best examples. She and her husband were in Las Vegas, and all they had to do was listen to this sales pitch and they'd get free tickets to the pirate show. So they sign up for this, and then they took them away from their car and drove them to the second location. I'm like, Mom, don't ever let them take you to the second location. So they're like half hour away from their car. They kept them for like 7 hours trying to sell them on this timeshare. And I was like, Mom, was it worth the free tickets? And they didn't buy them. They didn't buy the timeshare, and they eventually got back to their car and they did get the free tickets. I was like, Mom, was that worth the free tickets? She's like, no, it wasn't worth the free tickets. We lost a day of our vacation in Las Vegas. So you just always have to ask what's in it for them. And so just anyway, taking those big concepts, bringing them in, that's the key of this class and what we're teaching. And then my other role at the Financial Wellness Center, like I said, we do financial counseling. So the Financial Wellness Center was created in 2011 because University of Utah saw that too many students were dropping out because of financial stress. Students would work so hard to get into college, and they'd plan for like the first year, and then there was no plan after that. And then they would drop out. And what I think would be even worse is if they especially take out student loans for that first year. And then they're not going anymore 6 months after they stop going. They have to pay on these student loans and they don't have anything to show for it. And so this was created as a way to help them understand their resources, their options. It's grown from that. We do the one-on-one financial counseling sessions. I'm a financial counselor. And then I have students that I'm training. We have 2 students who are training to get their financial counseling certificates. We have another full-time staff member. She's this close to get, she just has to finish her hours. So it's accredited, trained people providing these financial counseling sessions. They're free. It's covered in student tuition. Nothing's free, but it's free, yeah. And then we also do, we're a VITA tax site. So every spring we help students do their taxes. And then we provide educational presentations across campus. So our role is kind of twofold. We have kind of an intervention piece and then also a prevention piece. So the intervention piece is someone who is close to not attending anymore, trying to figure out how they're going to pay for next semester, someone who's in a financial crisis. So we try and get them connected to resources. We have no money in our center. We can't give students any money. And I kind of like it that way because I don't want to be the person that says yes, no, yes, no. But we get them connected. There are little pockets of money where I can send students if they fit the criteria and they can apply that way. I've helped students with parking tickets. You would not believe what an issue that truly is. Thousands of dollars, and they put a hold so you can't graduate. They put a hold so you can't register for new classes, like for parking. It's so bizarre. So that's a part of what we do. And then we also do the prevention piece. Honestly, I'm gonna like the prevention piece better, that education piece of helping them forecast what's happening. So sometimes it is just talking about retirement. Sometimes it is helping them plan the next few years of their education. So that's what I get to do there. And so what I wanted to talk to you today is a lot about the work that we're doing there, some of the research that we've gathered there. We do a lot of intake and a lot of follow-up to understand what our students need, trying to help them. I do understand that this is not going to be representative of all young people in Utah. This is a very small portion, and it's those who are seeking help from us. So not representative, but I do think it helps give us an idea, a little snapshot of what is going on. So we asked them how they feel about managing their personal finances. And so when we break it down to uncomfortable and extremely uncomfortable, we're looking at about a quarter, just a little over a quarter, that are just really feeling uncomfortable or extremely uncomfortable managing that day to day. I was pleased to see that there are quite a few who are feeling comfortable or extremely comfortable. So there's a lot who are doing well. There's a lot who are not. And then we've got this like neutral, like, yeah, might be the group that aren't thinking about it, kind of have their head in the sand. And that's very, very common, especially those who have a lot of family support. So they just don't have to think about it. Stress level, this is the one we keep a very close eye on. So we try to look at, and this didn't pop up for some reason, thanks Canva. This is the not stressed at all. So a very small portion feels absolutely no stress. And when we look at extremely and very stressed, we do see a high percentage. So it's interesting to, like, when we look at those two, they don't really match up. So we do see quite a bit who are feeling extreme levels of stress when it comes to their finances. We were part of a national study called Trellis that did our entire campus, and they found that about 40% of our students at University of Utah were so stressed about finances it was impacting their academics. So about 40%, and that's pretty significant. And I think that it goes right in line with what our first presenter this morning was talking about, was when you're so stressed about everything else that's going on, including your finances, it's really hard to be positive about the future. It impacts all these other areas of your life. Okay, this is one that I find very interesting. I hope you can see this one okay. This is where we're asking, where do you get your financial knowledge? You can see the biggest chunk is going to be from parents and family, and you know this from your students at your schools, is that's going to be the biggest impact. This one makes me happy. This is Financial Wellness Center, so they're starting to learn from us. We have high school class. So when we mark this, when I meet with students, I'll ask them some questions. I want to get to know them. I've got an hour with them in a financial counseling session and kind of ask them like, oh, where did you learn about finances? And it's really fun when I have someone who learned about it in high school, and I'll get some really good responses. I did nominate a teacher who this student was like, oh my gosh, this teacher was amazing. I nominated for the awards center last night and they didn't get picked, but I'm like, I'm going to keep nominating. So the work you do really does matter, and it does have an impact. I like to think about it as like this little seed that is planted in their heads, and when the time is right, they'll be like, wait a minute, I remember my teacher said something. I need to think about this. So it really does make an impact. Friends is a little bit of one. College class, TV, I'm like, maybe, okay. The ones that are trending, the ones that are on my radar, internet and social media. These are the ones that are growing. And oh my gosh, when he said like the video thing and like watching like 60 videos a day, it's like, oh my gosh. That's the one that is freaking me out a bit. and we're actually creating some content. We're creating some content, some programming about that, because we're actually, this year, we've actually seen some harmful things that have been happening with some of the knowledge that is coming through social media and the internet. And I'm not the only one who's worried about this. Finfluencers who are touting just the harmful. Okay, so when I see like online content, there's like the helpful, the not helpful, and then the harmful. That's the one. If it's not helpful, I can let that one go. It's like whatever. The harmful, that if you follow this advice, it will cause you harm. The UK just cracked down on some finfluencers that were spouting harmful things. A couple years ago, there were the celebrities that got caught up in the crypto. They were promoting crypto, and I think it was the investing one. I can't remember. They got cracked down because they were promoting investments. I'm hopeful. Yeah.
What are some examples of this? Obviously the crypto, but what are some?
Yeah, on my next slide, I'm going to go over some of these very, very specific ones. So this is the one that I think we need to be aware of, and it kind of goes back to that Tan Staffel as well, is we can't know every single one. I can't stay on top of this stuff, and I don't expect anybody to, but how do we teach our kids, how do we teach our students to like the little hairs on the back of their neck go, wait a minute, sounds too good to be true. So we definitely want to look at those. So some of these that we've been seeing, buying courses. Oh my gosh. If you're not making $1,000 a day in your side hustles, then you're behind on life. All you have to do is buy my $500 course, and I will teach you how to do it. I'll teach you all the secrets. In 1 week, I had 2 sessions from amazing, smart, motivated female students. One was in a PhD program, and she was so panicked that she wasn't making money online. It rattled me a bit even. I was like, am I missing something? 2 female students in the same week were so worried that they weren't making money online. And I was like, if these smart, educated students are feeling like something's wrong with them, they're good. They're good at what they're doing. So buying courses, this one, I'm seeing all the time. And I've helped a couple students try and fight the charges on their credit card. One student bought like the intro $50 course, and then it auto paid them for a $500 course, and I helped him fight to get the $500 course back at least. So that one is huge, and it's the like, I will teach you how. So that one,
Surrounded by lifestyle. This is
yes.
lifestyle. This is what you'll
Look what I have. And they have the nice cars, and they're in the private jets and all that. So that one's a big one. And that's also like the affiliate marketing. You can make all this money and it's just a couple hours a day on your phone or whatever it is. So I see that one being a really big one. Tax evasion, secrets of saving on your taxes. I don't know if the younger students will see this one. College students are seeing this one. This one's really hard in really tight communities, immigrant communities. This can spread like wildfire, where one person learns a tax trick and they spread it around, and they trust the people around them. Because we're a VITA clinic, we actually saw a couple of these where they thought you could use the same kid on multiple tax returns. And you can't do that. And the IRS catches that pretty quick. And so we were kind of the bad guys when we were telling them that they couldn't do that. So that's a big one. So that one's not always just social media. It can be in these groups, but that's another one. Day trading, this one will never go away. And you can tell people all the statistics that, 91% of people lose money day trading because it's that small percent that just strike it just at the right time. They don't want to believe that. So that's one. Avoiding credit completely. This is harmful advice. I have had multiple students who couldn't get the apartment they wanted because they had no credit. So avoiding credit completely, seeing it as this evil, awful thing, is absolutely harmful. So instead, we need to teach them how to use credit wisely, how to build credit. I like to call it like training wheels, or, with the bumper lanes, how to do it so you can do it slowly, and kind of build those skills. Those high cost financial products, all the insurance products, you'll see those. And also extreme frugality. This can be harmful when people are touting not taking care of themselves, not having good health, not going to the doctor, or eating so poorly that they have vitamin deficiencies. So some of these are going to be relevant to your students. Some won't be. So what we want to do is help our students recognize when it could be harmful, when it's out of alignment with a healthy life, when it sounds too good to be true, when there aren't any claims to back it up. So this is the one that's on my radar. This is the one that this is one of our focuses of the upcoming school year, because we're just seeing it more and more. Okay, one of the other things that we do at Financial Wellness Center is based off of a dissertation that was just published, and it was looking at the financial journey of a person and what to work on during those young adult years, the 18 to 24, kind of the college years, but it's not just for college students. So when you think about the milestones and where people are, it's varied, and it's not an age thing, but that's typically where they fall. So our students aren't typically going to be buying a home during college. They're not going to be retiring, but there are certain things that they're going to work on. So we created an assessment to track these financial behaviors to see if they improve over time. My hope is that we can kind of show that working with Financial Wellness Center aligns with that part of their journey. We'll see how that goes. Maybe next year I'll have those numbers. We just started implementing this in January. So 6 financial steps. I want to see if you can guess any of them. 18 to 24, 6 milestones that research shows that age group should be working on? Any guesses?
I would think establishing credit. If they have
You got one. Credit. Yes, that is an important time to be establishing credit.
Saving money.
Having a saving or investing, like starting a saving and investing habit. Amazing.
Skill sets or education?
It's a good one. Not on there though. Kind of, we do ask, like, do you have a plan to finish paying for school? That one we added but that's college specific.
Career plan.
No. Okay, we got a couple of them. So, building credit. One of the best ways is a healthy use of credit cards. Okay. Budget, spending plan, good age to do that. Creating an emergency fund. We do have our students on, I guess, goal setting. Richard, I'm going to give you goal setting. Good job. We have our students on the lower end of an emergency fund. Most of our students aren't in the need of a 6-month emergency fund, and it can be really, when the goal is like so big, they're like, oh, why even try? So we don't push a 6-month. We start with 1 month of expenses, and then we do push it to 2 or 3 months. As a college student, though, that's really, really hard, and especially if they are living off loans. Some of our students need to live off loans, and so we don't necessarily push saving and investing, but we kind of talk about when they will be ready for it. So these are the 6 things that we really want them to work on during the time they're in college. There is nuance to it, though. Some students are going to be ready. So some of the program that we do a budget challenge. University of Utah uses Canvas. So we can create a Canvas course and we can just load them in. They get weekly challenges, tracking their spending, creating goals, check-ins. We usually do like a free coffee card or something if they complete it. We did an intentional spending challenge where they just kind of check in with themselves to make sure that their spending aligns. We were going to do a no spend challenge, but then we were worried about that, like, are they going to take care of themselves and be okay? So we did intentional. We do investing groups. Students are so excited about investing, and it's really fun to get them in a group and get them talking about it. We can't give them money to invest, but we usually get a sponsor who will give them a gift card, like a $50 gift card, and our hope is then they can use the gift card and then use the money from their budget to start investing. That's kind of how we get around it. That one has just been so much fun. And what's been really fascinating to me is we do not promote this to any certain demographic, but we found that it's the typically underrepresented demographics in investing. So non-male and non-white typically sign up for it. And I just love that because it's kind of like the people who maybe need that support are finding us. So our programming does try to fit in with promoting those skills. So some of the things that we found, like we asked them, I follow a weekly budget. And then we use an action scale. So we've got never 23% to always 13%. And then we've got those in the middle. My hope is that we're tracking them with our interactions. My hope is that we will start to see, as they interact with us, that we'll have more of those increasing those financial behaviors. I love this one. 54% are always paying their credit card in full every month. 13% are never, though, so some people are carrying a balance. That's a toughie. That's where I like the training wheels. I like having them start out. I prefer they start out with their parents' card, an authorized user on their parents' card if they have a good relationship with their parents and if that all works out. If that's not an option, a student card with a really low balance or really low limit, 500 to 1,000, so that if they go hog wild with that first card, the damage won't be too high. Sometimes if credit's not there, they have to do that secured card. Because we have a good credit union partner, we have You First Credit Union, they will typically do that. We've got a good partnership with them. A lot of students want to jump into the rewards cards. Again, social media, they see people traveling, and I do that. It's a fun way that I love to travel, but I'm like, I've had credit cards for over 20 years. I know how to use them, and it's like the skills that you build. So I'm like, you have to prove yourself to me that you're ready. And so we start maybe with a cash back card and then maybe build up to those travel cards. So this is an area that is kind of that nuance. It's a one-on-one kind of basis, which I'm fortunate that I get to have that kind of relationship with the students. I set and work on financial goals. This is my favorite question because when I talk to students one-on-one, everybody gets to say yes. Because I work with people who are enrolled in college, and I was like, that is your financial goal. And it's a great time to remind them that they are investing. They're investing in their human capital. They're investing in their earning potential. And it's okay if some of their goals, some of their investing or saving goals are on hold because we need to get the return on that investment. That's the number one. So some of them do say never, even though I say that's not true. But we leave that up to them to decide what that might be. We don't like to use hard numbers, that hard comparison student to student. That can be really hard. We have such a wide strata of students. We've got students who are from lower income, high needs, who get a lot of financial aid, a lot of financial support. And then we have students whose families have a lot of money, have a lot of support, who don't need financial aid. And then we've got this messy middle. And these are students who don't get aid, whose families can't help. And so these students have to be scrappy because they've got to piece together how they're going to complete school. So sometimes that's scholarships. We've got a scholarship guru in our office. She will tell students exactly how she can find a 500 and 1,000 and a 350, and she pieces together semester after semester, and she's made it happen. Sometimes they do loans. Sometimes they do part-time. Sometimes they do classes at Slick, and then if they do well, they transfer it to the U, and then if they don't do well, they just don't transfer it. Like, how? All these tricks, all these things I didn't know about, but these I call them kids, these students are so savvy, and they're learning how to do it, and they're finding their way. And I love that I get to see it, and I love that I get to be a part of it. I just can't keep up with them. I can't. So anyway, so that fun messy middle that finds their way. I monitor my credit score. We don't ask them what their credit score is, but we want them to be aware of it. We remind them not to pay to see their credit score. I don't really see a need, and I tell them, don't chase an 850. It's not gonna magically open this door, but watch it, just pay attention, make sure that it doesn't take a giant drop when you don't realize. Because I have 4 credit cards because I do the travel rewards and stuff, and I signed up for all their free credit monitoring, and when I pulled all the reports, there was like a 40-point range. And as I was talking to some students about this, I said, I just get the email once a month, and I just make sure it's close and hasn't taken a big drop. If I ever move, if I ever refinance, not going to, but if I ever do, then I'll want to tighten things up and make sure it's in that highest range. But we want them to be aware of it, pay attention. We have a really great partnership with credit.com. They come in once a month and provide credit credit counseling to our students. They give them credit.com free for 1 year. And that's been really great, especially our populations that typically don't have the support, haven't learned it at home. So we're very fortunate with that. And then we do ask the savings or investing plan. So 21% don't have any type of saving or investing plan, but that means that the rest do. About 80% have some type, occasionally, sometimes rarely, but then the always and frequently are pretty good. So we do see them creating some type of saving or investing plan. Again, we don't ask the specifics. We want them to self-report. This is a big one. We want to make sure they have a plan to pay for school. This is when I get nervous about the rarely, never, and occasionally. We want to make sure they have a plan. That's been one of the hardest things, is when students get there and then they're like, oh wait, I have 3 more years that I need to pay. I had a student whose mom was pulling from her own retirement. I just sat down with her and I'm like, you can't let your mom do this. She needs her retirement. And we kind of worked out a plan, made sure her FAFSA got done, which makes me grateful that I can be there. But then I always think about the students who don't find us, and those are hard. So again, just those things to work on. And then that emergency fund question, about half don't. Some are unsure how much. And then we've got some that have less than a month. We have some that have more than 3 months, but with half not having one. Some of those might have family resources, so they don't need one. But this is scary. We all know the research on emergency funds and what that can do. And then we do have a basic needs collective at University of Utah. So if students are in need of basic needs, they get connected to university and community resources. So healthcare, housing. So 83% said no, but that means 16% said they needed housing, food, medical. So we connect them with the basic needs, with the food pantry or whatever they might need to make sure they get that help. This is fairly new. We're really grateful for it, and hopefully that will just continue to grow to help our students who need that help. Okay, just want to thank you all for your help. A few things that I just want to reiterate is really important. Just keep connecting so that students see the value of personal finance in their lives, taking it from the concepts to the applications. Incorporate personal finance lessons into other subjects. Our winner for the Educator of the Year was a 6th grade teacher who was just incorporating finance topics into all areas of his 6th grade. So that was really exciting. Just try and find ways to relate these topics to the students to make them relevant in their day-to-day. We just want to keep teaching those critical thinking skills. I want the hair on the back of their neck to stand up when they see those social media. Anytime we can get our parents, I know that's really hard, but anytime we can collaborate and try and get the parents involved, since that's where students are learning it, and any way we can provide real life examples to help them see how this will help them in their lives. I just really appreciate all you do. I'm grateful to be on the Jumpstart Coalition to see what our parents can do. If there's anything that I can do to help, any support I can give, my email's right here. And thank you for all you do. Any questions or anything? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.